priced PC every 3 years on an aggressive upgrade cycle. If you buy a new computer every 5 years on a more typical one, that's year 2. If you've decided that humanity has had a good run and you get on board with a rental PC in 2024, then by year 10 you'll have paid enough to buy a decent used car. Almost $16,000, assuming the price from NZXT for the rental doesn't ever go up, which it will. If you upgraded every 3 years, year 10 would have you at $5,000 for the purchasing of pre-builds, assuming you spend the same amount of money every build and you don't just upgrade it instead, which is far cheaper. If you upgrade every 5 years, you'd be at just $3,750. But it gets worse. A lot worse. This is the Player 3 Prime. NZXT used to offer the pre-built purchase with an RTX 4090 and then silently downgraded it to a 4080 Super when you clicked subscribe, an absolutely insane bait and switch. As we're writing this, they've changed it again, and both the rental and the purchase now use a 4080 Super. We'll see how long that lasts. That makes this easy because the rental has the same major components as the pre-built for this one. Here's the chart calculated at a 5-year period. Over 5 years, the $259 per month rental PC, which you would not own at the end of 5 years, would cost $15,540. If you buy NZXT's spec right now on Newegg, it's about $2,300 to $2,400. With the same major components, assuming they don't change it, it's $3,000 from NZXT. We used a firm to get a quote at a 22% rate, and they came back with $3,369.40 for a 1-year paydown. But let's normalize for time. If you take a 5-year personal loan at the maximum legal rate permitted in several states, which is 36% under statutory usury law, it cost us $6,504 to pay for the $3,000 computer over a 5-year period. And the monthly payment would be less than half of the payment of the rental. And again, you'd own it. We then broke NerdWallet's personal loan calculator, which can't accept a rate higher than 99% because it's not legal. And so I had to call my banker to ask for help quoting me on an illegal predatory loan. After some questions about my mental health and many disclaimers that this is not a real loan being offered, it is purely for journalistic purposes, for research, it is not something the bank does, etc., we came to a 5-year paydown at 103%, equaling the cost of the rental PC over a 5-year period. So even if you take this illegal loan, you're in better shape over a 5-year period. And to be clear, don't do that. That's bad. There's a reason they're predatory loans. Dialing it back, the 5-year cost of ownership is 418% higher than the purchase cost of the machine at $3,000. Now we get to the fun part. Criminal loans. So, called around, did some research online and otherwise on payday loans. If you haven't heard of this predatory lending practice, here's what the North Carolina Justice Center says about it. Quote, bank payday loans create a debt trap, just like other payday loans. Rather than solving a financial crisis, they sink the borrower into a deeper financial hole. Center for Responsible Lending research shows the average bank payday loan costs 365% annual interest. Bank payday customers are in debt an average of 175 days a year with an average of 16 transactions. It's like any industry, there's different types of product for predatory loan. There's bank payday loans, loans from the mob. NZXT. There's all kinds of options. It's a really interesting and exciting field of professional activity. So we did some research using a mix of public resources for payday loans and predatory lending awareness, and speaking with the people, we put this together. We cobbled together this charted scenario of taking a $3,000 loan to play video games with a so-called finance fee at $5,250. Assuming you could pay it back within 175 days, it would be $8,250 total owed, which is still cheaper than paying for the same machine for 32 months. In other words, if you were to keep this example PC from NZXT for at least 32 months, you might actually be better off taking a definitely predatory, possibly mafia-backed, and almost certainly criminal loan, and then owning the computer at the end of it. And it'd be like the same price, depending on your terms, and if they don't break your kneecaps first. Now we're going to talk about the terms of service, which these are really aggressive. And Vincent Augusta, an attorney who's joining us for this, we hired him to provide his expert insights, read through the contract for us, and provide some thoughts. He had several key points where his concerns were about the fairness of the contract. It's crazy how this contract is written. It is really aggressive and overreaching. So let's get into the discussion. What I have printed here is 13 pages of subscription agreement. From a base level, what differentiates, let's say, like a predatory rental agreement from something that's more fair for consumers? You know, what does a consumer look out for in a broad sense? And then we'll get into the specifics.
Most of these rental agreements, they are contracts of adhesion. They're kind of in a take it or leave it situation.
Yeah.
You're not really negotiating a lot of the terms, but there's still things that you can look for that will help indicate the fairness of the document generally, and also the intentions of the company you're doing business with. One of the major problems with the subscription agreement here is looking for terms that aren't punitive. And by punitive, I mean that there is a way of writing these kinds of agreements that protects the legitimate interests of the business engaged, in this case, in a subscription, in a rental agreement. But there are also ways of trying to protect the interests of the company that look more like they're just punishing consumers for not following hyper-technical rules or setting kind of impossibly high standards.
And we'll come back to this, but like the packaging, I guess.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. What jumps out at you as concerning?
Some of the first terms that jump out have to do with the return process itself. And so you can see by the language of the agreement that the customer is required to return the rental device using the original packaging. So now original packaging here is not defined, and so we would apply kind of a plain English understanding to that term. Packing paper, if there's 72 styrofoam peanuts, then you need 72 styrofoam peanuts. The business has a legitimate interest in getting their product back safely. But the way that this term is written is that it allows for a kind of a series of pitfalls for the customer in attempting to accomplish that goal. And these are a little bit of extreme examples, of course, but by the language of this agreement, that is what the consumer is agreeing to. So there's a portion of this agreement that speaks to a situation in which the company bills in excess of what the contract allows for. And by the terms of the agreement, if that occurs, the consumer has 60 days to notify the business in writing that this excessive billing has occurred. If they do not, per the agreement, the customer fully accepts the charge as legitimate and can no longer dispute it.
Right.
And so this is very concerning for a couple of reasons. One is it doesn't indicate a limit for the amount. So if the business messes up 2 decimal places and charges the consumer $5,000 instead of $50, by the terms of this agreement, if they aren't properly notified of it, then within 60 days, the consumer would be adopting that charge. Also, the fact that it requires it in writing is somewhat counterintuitive. So if you noticed a charge that was in excess of what it ought to be, or a double billing or something like that, your instinct might be to pick up the phone, to give them a call, but by the terms of this agreement, you haven't properly notified.
Is there a statute for what they're trying to do here? Like, does something exist? You practice law in North Carolina. Does something exist here where if I go through a retail checkout and I find out they scanned an item twice, right? Like, what is there like a window where I can dispute that?
Generally, in North Carolina, you'd have 3 years to bring that charge.
Right.
And again, that's not an internal dispute with the company. That's for a civil action. But by the language of this agreement, it appears that they're attempting to modify that and go from a 3-year statute of limitation and bring it to a 60-day statute of limitation, which I could not find any North Carolina precedent that involved a court upholding a 60-day statute of limitation modification contract.
Okay.
I will tell you that the UCC provisions, the Uniform Commercial Code that's been adopted by North Carolina, limits the reduction in statute of limitations, at least for the sale of goods, to no less than 1 year.
Okay, all right.
Now, this is a contract for services, so it's not governed by the same law, but it seems to give an indication of where that line might be for North Carolina courts. It almost harkens to like a Fair Credit Billing Act kind of language, is that in federal law, when there's a kind of a fraudulent charge on a credit card, a consumer has 60 days to bring it to the credit card company's attention to dispute it. But this is not the same situation, obviously those limitations are very different because it's not the credit card company that's billing you. It's the third party that's billing you through the credit card company. Here, the billing is direct. And so for there to be a direct billing, that if it is erroneous, you only have 60 days to challenge is exceedingly concerning. When returning the rental equipment, the agreement stipulates that the consumer will use, quote, all reasonable efforts to prevent damage and theft when packaging the product. So a couple of things that are concerning here. The first is that all reasonable efforts is pretty broad. But more importantly, what you're attempting to effectuate is the prevention of damage and theft, which is functionally an impossible standard. It doesn't really matter how you package something. If it falls off the back of a FedEx truck on the highway and someone runs over it at 60 miles an hour, it's going to be damaged. That goes back to this idea of drafting these terms on one side to protect the legitimate interests of the business, and the other side to kind of punish the consumer. Not what you would want to see in an agreement if you were looking out for a consumer, because it's not appropriately attributing the responsibility. If the product is returned damaged or materially altered, then the remedy that the agreement provides for the business is a replacement fee up to the full retail value of the computer. And so this is concerning for a couple of reasons. One is that it doesn't make any mention of a relationship between the cost of the damages and the replacement penalty.
What is a soft credit pull as far as it relates to this agreement, and what are the privacy concerns you have with the agreement?
The idea is that they're looking to get information about your credit without doing kind of a hard credit inquiry. They're not indicating to the credit agencies that you're looking to take out a line of credit. They're just trying to get information about past credit interactions that you've had, which is a little invasive. But again, I think going back to the original discussion, that is something that in many ways reflects a legitimate interest that a business might have. And it might be, a business doing this kind of rental agreement. It might be an employer looking to do a background check. Those seem to fall into that category of legitimate business interests being protected. Then you have the license for the personal data. So this part of the subscription is really problematic.
Can we read it?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Line by line?
So this is a direct quote from the subscription agreement, and it says that you, the consumer, grant operator, the business, a non-revocable, perpetual, non-exclusive, worldwide license to use and distribute, however operator sees fit, any and all images, video, correspondence, audio recordings, or other data and information.
Is there a good reason for that you can think of?
A good reason for the business or for the consumer?
For the business.
For the business, it's to sell your data.
Yeah, okay, all right.
To use the data to pursue debt collection, but realistically, it is pretty much as broad as it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not specifically and explicitly limited by other law somewhere else, then they probably can do it. It states that it is any and all images, videos, correspondence, audio recordings, or other data information which you provide to them in connection with the subscription of the services.
Okay.
So connection is exceedingly broad. That category of data seems to encompass just about everything. Your name, your email address, your address, personal information, an audio recording of your voice, pictures of yourself, and if it's on the hard drive and it's returned to them, then that seems very reasonably to be in connection with the subscription agreement and the services provided. You've provided it to them. Whether or not you did it intentionally is maybe up for debate.
Right.
But if it's on the hard drive and you return it to them, you've provided it to them, and it's pursuant to this agreement.
And it's in connection with the service.
It's in connection with the service.
Yeah, and in this case, you can't even negotiate. We call it a contract of adhesion.
Right, so this is a contract that is presented to a consumer in a take it or leave it situation.
So you're a Magic the Gathering player.
Once in a while. Depends on who you ask.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. If NZXT, from a demonic attorney's perspective, there's a legitimate interest of, we're providing this rental, there is a possibility it gets stolen, where they pay for 1 month, they get it, and they never pay us again. Might they then form a dark pact to offer you a contract from below. All of these are anti-cards.
All of these are banned in every format. You cannot play.
Okay, well that's beside the point. Okay, don't ruin my thing.
I was so distracted I didn't even hear your question. Can you repeat the question?
The question is, I'm NZXT. I'm just protecting against a user signs up, they pay $60, they get a computer, they cancel the payment, and they keep the computer.
Right.
They have stolen from me.
Right.
Right? So what's wrong with me trying to protect myself from thieves?
Right, and I think it's an excellent point. And the answer is, I don't think there is anything wrong with trying to protect that interest. I think it's the peripheral of the subscription agreement that becomes problematic when you have terms that are punishing consumers for not following hyper-technical requirements, impossibly high standards, extremely small periods of time to address issues with the relationship that actually have no connection to the actual subscription itself. I mean, overcharging a consumer and putting a 60-day time limit to draw attention to that and putting technical requirements that would be in writing for the notice has no relationship to the actual subscription agreement that is being negotiated here. So it's those kinds of terms, the licensing agreement for the use of private information. Those are the kinds of things that are problematic because they don't speak to the interest that you just described, which is perfectly legitimate, and instead create these angle shooting opportunities where consumers can be punished for things that don't facilitate anything on the business side.
Yeah, and this is where it comes back to, it's not about what might they intend with this language, it's about what's written with the language for me.
Correct.
And so I'm not taking...
And that's how the contract will be interpreted.
Right, and so I don't take a charitable interpretation with it because that's not how it's going to be used against me if it is used against me, which is my not legal advice. It's not legal advice, but it's something you could think about, maybe. Have I sufficiently couched that? Is that qualified well enough?
Yes.
Okay, you've heard it here first. That is his not legal advice to me, providing not legal advice to you. I think that's
good enough.
All right.
So there's provisions of the subscription agreement that provide a kind of extreme one-sided benefit to the business without any kind of benefit to the consumer. So one of the things in the agreement is an attempt to limit the direct damages that the business can be responsible for. The subscription agreement says that the aggregate amount of direct damages that operator, which is the business, will pay you for claims under the terms, under these terms, is the total fees paid to operator by you in the 6 months immediately preceding the event that gives rise to such liability. They're attempting to limit their damages for liability to whatever the amount is of the 6 months of subscription fees prior to that event happening. So in a lot of ways, this looks like an attempt to create what's called a liquidated damages provision. It's an attempt to, if the parties to a contract are struggling to figure out what the damages might be in the future, and there's kind of a difficulty of discerning their risk, then parties can, in theory, negotiate a fixed amount that will replace calculation of the actual damages for breach of the contract.
What sorts of things are they attempting to cover here?
It seems as though they're attempting to cover everything.
NZXT has in the past sold computer cases that the CPSC, Consumer Product Safety Commission, has issued notices on. If they happen to sell you a computer that catches on fire, is that the type of scenario, maybe at the extreme end, but that is attempted to be covered here?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, and they make every effort to waive every single kind of liability that they are legally allowed to waive. And so you see this in the attempts to reach the absolute maximum liability protection, is that they use language that specifically acknowledges that this might not even be enforceable. So for example, in this liquidated damages provision, it says, if permitted under prevailing law, comma, the aggregate amount of direct damages. And the reason they say this is because this kind of provision is disfavored under the law. And in many jurisdictions, and including North Carolina, this will probably not be enforced. And the reason being that for liquidated damages in North Carolina to be enforced, you both generally have to have a difficulty
assessing the damage.
Assessing the damages at the time of the contract, but also the amount has to be a reasonable attempt to approximate what the actual damage would be. You can see in this assumption of all risk, it says you acknowledge that use of this device may cause, illness, including but not limited to bodily injury, disease, strains, fractures, partial, total paralysis, other ailments that could cause serious disability, mental or physical anguish, or death.
Wow. Okay.
And you expressly agree to assume all risks and accept all responsibility for any accident, personal injury, property damage, death, or disability that you may suffer as a result of using the services and rental devices. Waiver and release of claim. You hereby expressly agree to waive and release operator and service providers from any and all claims, including those in contract, which is what this agreement is, tort, including negligence, statutory and or other grounds, including without limitation claims for relating to any accident, personal injury, property damage, death, or disability that you may suffer as a result of using our services or products. So again, is all of this enforceable? Potentially not. Will they attempt to enforce all of that? Potentially not. But they are, by the language of this contract, attempting to reach the absolute bounds of liability waiver that they can possibly achieve.
If I'm a really serious consumer and I want to pay a lawyer to review all contracts before I sign them, which is like, it doesn't exist, but let's just say that's what I'm doing here, right? I come to you, I say, I'd like to retain your services. Can you read this for me and tell me what you think? What would that conversation be after the fact? What would be your quick recap to me, right, of how you feel about the agreement overall?
I think it's concerning because there are lots of potential pitfalls for the consumer. There are lots of places where you can run into problems that you wouldn't necessarily think intuitively that would be problems. There are places where the technical requirements by the terms of the contract are nearly impossible to accomplish. The use of your data for any and all reasons is problematic. And so there's a lot to be concerned about with this agreement. There's a lot of terms in this agreement that go well above and beyond what is necessary to have a contract for the rental services of a computer.
So one of the other sections in the agreement says under 14 warranties, the accuracy or completeness of product information is not guaranteed and is subject to change without notice. You are solely responsible for evaluating and selecting products and determining whether each product is fit for a particular purpose and suitable for your use. The concern I would have is about the accuracy or completeness of the product information not being guaranteed.
Right. You have, on one side, their complete express waiver of the warranty that their descriptions are correct, that anything is accurate, that they've said for the fitness or purpose of the
This is, by the way,
computer what the specs are. But on the other side, the remedy for that, for the consumer, is exclusively by the terms to return the product unused.
Okay.
This is a quote. Your sole remedy for a product being materially inaccurately described is to return it in unused condition, complete and undamaged in the original packaging, and have operator replace the product.
I think it is literally impossible to do that in some cases. Because if I turn the computer on and I load BIOS and see that it's not configured to the memory spec that they have stated, which might not necessarily be quick to determine without turning it on, without using it. And I complained to them, strictly by this contract, I guess their response is, well, we didn't guarantee that. I mean, what? Like,
it appears as though that would be something that they could do, yes.
Right.
If you were to receive a product that was, and this is their language, that was materially inaccurately described.
Don't forget that you are perfect exactly just the way you are. Don't forget that you are perfect exactly just the way you are. Come, Fauna. Ricky, you, buddy.
Check out my perfect form. It's perfect. Check out my perfect form. It's perfect.
That's it. Yes, this is perfect.
Bleh. Ding dong. I'm definitely on top. You want me to be on top, huh? Ooh. Hey. Hey. Hello, beautiful. Ricky, you, buddy. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. I can't. Connie-chan? I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I only have one thing to say.
Yes.
Mwah, mwah. Bark,
Well,
bark. Woof, woof. Ow. Foul, foul, beam. I am serious, and I speak for the trees. Stop littering, or I'll break your knees. Ricky, you. Whoo. 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 Hello, beautiful. Let me give you a hug. Thank you. Thank you, Zapwitz. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Let me give you a hug. Thank you. Thank you, Zapwitz. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Ooh. Oh no. Mermaid. Mwah. Salty. I am salty. Let me give you a hug. Thank you. Thank you, Zapwitz. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Amba. 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 Luke, thank you. Are you able to pull off a gaspy horror screech, but like the creepy ambient kind, not the jump scare kind? I can try. Let me mute this music. Ambient kind? Gaspy horror screech? I'm breathing in the chemicals? What is a creepy ambient kind like? Was that scary? That's the stuff. That was not ambient. It wasn't that loud, right? That's scary. Like you gasped. You were tabbed out. Pretty curse? Okay, we take those then. You alarm, thank you. What a horrible sound. I didn't know I was capable of making that sound. I'm glad to learn. Sounded like I was suffering. Don't worry. I'm not suffering. I'm just voice acting. Thank you, Luke. Just as long as we can have an agreement.
These are the terms currently on the table. Markarth will be handed over to Ulfric's forces, Jarl Igmund will step down, and Thangvor Silverblood will become the Jarl of Markarth. The Stormcloaks.
Am I still a Thane? Because I was really trying to become Thane in all of these towns.
Jarl Layla Lawgiver will step down, and Maven Blackbriar will become the Jarl of Riften.
Wait, do we hate Maven Blackbriar?
Will be turned over to Ulfric, and Dengir of Stoom will return as Jarl.
Yes? Oh
Both
no.
agree to this?
The Sons of Skyrim will live up to their agreements, as long as the Imperials hold to theirs. What about you, Ellison? Are these terms to your liking?
Wow, this is amazing. An amazing creature right here.
I miss Fauna.
Ideal human form.
General, you've proven yourself a good friend to Skyrim. I can
Amazing creature right here.
I miss Fauna.
Ideal human form.
Jarl Elisif, I appreciate your loyalty. The Empire can live with these terms.
That's me! Can't believe it. This is Amelia Watson. I know this detective anyway. I mean, we've already negotiated a lot. I've got a job, girl. I've got a job. That's me! Really? You got 2 cities in return, though.
My body's on the line.
Is there even any point to this?
I
We're
can't
just like trading
fight
Monopoly
this
pieces
time
around.
now.
Like it's nothing.
I can feel the light shine on my face. My body's on the line now. I can't fight this time now. I can feel the light shine on my face.
Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on the natural charge, bon voyage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodgers, Brooklyn score. Wu-Tang Killer, who's on the floor. Make the power dance, disco drum. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Off on the natural charge, bon voyage. Yeah, from the home of the Dodgers, Brooklyn score. Wu-Tang.
Fallon is seeping contempt. He talks over these guys and ignores them constantly.
Fine!
Likely to intrigue this dragon after your victory over Aldrin. I think it's very likely that he will be unable to resist investigating your call.
What's this dragon's name?
I'm no master of the voice, like these worthy gentlemen, but it is written here in this scroll.
Esbern could be a graybeard, right? He's got the beard for it.
Winged snow hunter, as I read it.
Oh! I'm not gonna kill Parthenax.
do the right thing.
No. I will do the right thing. Come on, Fainal.
Ready to get...
Follow me. Okay, he's coming. This guy really just stood the whole time. Taking Faindal's seat? All for what?
Parthenax deserves to
Stop.
die. I hope this truce gives you what you need.
Parthenax is my friend. Poor Faindal. Ah! The sun! My vampire blood boils in the sunlight. Okay. Prepare the trap. Is it in Dragon's Reach? Or out the back? I guess it's in here. Did they make him back already? They did. Can they also fast travel? Wait, was he even there? He wasn't even there.
Dragonborn. Just say the word.
Whoa! Faindal. Bold move right there. To run on top of the Jarl's chair. Are you ready to spring the trap?
My men stand ready. The great chains are oiled. We wait on your word.
I'm ready.
My men know what to do. Make sure
Okay.
you do your part. I'm putting my city in your hands.
Snowy dragon! Call dragon. Snow Hunter Wing. It reads like one of those names from MMORPGs where you can only choose your name from a list of pre-approved words. Like Toontown. Did you know Toontown? You can still play it.
You do
I'm
have
really
a plan for
tempted
luring a dragon here.
to hop on Toontown. You can play it. I don't know if it's the actual one or if it's like a fan recreation, but there's like people who play it. It's a fan remake. I wanna play it. Okay, are we ready?
We're ready when you
Okay.
are.
Hello? Snowy dragon? Oh. Hold on. Do I need my like dragon land? Do I even have that? Shout that makes dragons land? Oh, is that what Dragon Rend is? That? I didn't realize that's what Dragon Rend was. I thought you get that shout really early. Ah! I missed. I think I missed.
Steady now. Undercover, down.
I'm gonna need you guys to tank for me. Because I'm weak to fire. He's forced to land. Here I am. Wait, really? Stop talking about vampires. It's nothing. Tis just a flesh wound. Lure it in? I'm weakening it like a Pokemon. Over here! Ah! Closer, closer! A Pokeball! Interrogate him? I mean, he could still kill me with his dragon breath really easily, right? This is kind of sad. I like dragons.
Deal of trouble to put me
Let's
in
throw
this
tomatoes at him.
humiliating position. Vincir Alduin, No doubt you want to know where to find Alduin.
He already knows what we want.
Renik Vaza, an apt phrase. Alduin Boval. One reason I came to your call
Should
was
I
to test your
blow my
thorn
fire
for
at you?
myself.
Many of us have begun to question Alduin's lordship.
Ooh, you should follow me. I'm gonna be the strongest dragon, cat, vampire thing.
Of course, Muni Mae. None were yet ready to openly defy him.
You're telling me where to find
Once
Alduin?
Lord Croesus, innumerable pardons, I digress. He has traveled
All
to
these dragons are
Sovngarde to regain
yappers.
his strength, devouring the Silissure,
A what?
the souls of the mortal dead, a privilege he jealously guards. His door to Sovngarde
This
is
guy
at
is just
Skeldafen,
willing to give him up.
one of his ancient
I don't think we even had to
fanes
trap
high in
him.
the eastern mountains. Mindoran pa ok midove navarantil. I surely do not need to warn you that all his remaining strength is marshaled
I'd make
there.
a great dragon, thank you.
To
You know,
Ulos
Kirins are kind of
Ofan
like
Hulam.
dragons in some
Now
mythos.
that I have answered your question, you will allow me to go free?
Yeah. You promise? Do you promise to serve me, Pinky? Promise.
Serve you? No. Need id. If and when you defeat Alduin, I will reconsider.
I mean, this guy was like...
Croesus.
They keep saying Croesus. Is
There
that a
is
swear?
one detail
He
about
was like just
Skeldafen
chilling as far
I
as I'm
neglected
concerned.
to mention.
Tell me what you know then.
Only this. You have the Thurm of Adova, but without the wings of one, you will never set
Good
foot
thing,
in
good thing I've got a
Skeldafen.
buddy with wings.
Of course, I could fly you there, but not while imprisoned like this.
Croesus is like, oops, oops. I mean, can't we have Parthenax take us there? Set him free? Also, I want to set him free, but that's just because I like him. I mean, I can always... I can always kill him if I need to. I'll set you free.
Onikan Korav Gair Mirad. It is wise
I
to
feel bad seeing
recognize
him
when
like
you
this. I just like
only
the
have
dragons,
one
you know?
choice.
I mean, I'm also
you
like
can
part
trust
dragon,
me.
right?
Zuni Tarudis. Alduin has proven himself unworthy to rule. I go my own way now. Free me,
Okay,
and
I will
I
free
will
you.
carry you to Skeldafen.
Incredible. Sir, you have no idea how long
This
I
guy's
have
also a
waited for
fan.
such an opportunity. I would be most appreciative if you would permit
No!
me to perform some
Light him on fire.
tests on you, purely in the interests of the advancement of knowledge.
Can I free him?
Be gone, mage. Do not test my promise
How do I
to the
free him?
I
Dovahkiin.
assure you, you will not even notice. Most of them are hardly painful at all to a large dragon
Shush.
such as yourself.
Shush. There's a lever. Where? Oh, it's up there? No! I need to free this guy.
What are you doing? I can't believe.
Open the trap. I'm sure. Ah!
Get him back in there again.
Did he kill that guy? I mean, I can't say he didn't deserve it. He's fine.
As pale as the snow. You scared of sunlight or
Yes,
something?
actually.
Was du? Did he dine Ruthi Astval?
Okay, please don't betray me. We're cool, right?
Are you ready to see the world as only
Yes.
a Dova can?
Yes. Oh, you're so cool.
I await your command as
I like that they're dragons with
Are you
only
ready to
4
see the
limbs
world
instead
as
of
only
6
a
limbs.
Dova can?
You know, like the wings are the front legs. I like four-limbed dragons. A wyvern? That makes them wyverns? Is that how it works? I'm ready.
I warn you, once you've flown the skies of Kaisar,
Yeah, I'm sure.
your envy of the Dolph will only increase.
Did you guys ever watch that documentary about dragons? It's like a fake documentary, but it seems like somewhat scientific. Is Faendal coming? Faendal! You know the one? You saw the mermaid one? I loved the dragon one. I remember they talked about like sex determination of the eggs using like temperature, which is something the crocodilians do. I thought that was cool. Okay, bye. I'm pretty sure this is as far as I've been in Skyrim. I'm pretty sure I got to this point and then never played again on the first time I played Skyrim. Oh, wait, is Faendal here? Don't tell me I have to do this alone. I can't do this alone. Ah, you're not my friend? Sure. I thought you were my friend. Oh no. Don't kill me. Don't kill me! I'm just tanking him! Hold on, I need my hat. Why aren't we friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Okay. I need Faendal. Whoa!
Perhaps you aren't as powerful as you think.
What's happening? Who's talking? No, I knew I wouldn't be able to carry all of this. Do I have anything heavy that I can throw away? Oh. In the apparel? Like this? I don't need this, right? This thing's like nothing. I'm hoarding dragon bones? But I need those for when I make my dragon bone armor. I'll just put it back on this dragon. I need that. I'm not gonna be able to get enough. I can hunt the dragons anytime. Oh, okay. Fine. Oh!
Thank you.
Who are you? He stole my soul. Uh-oh. Archer versus Archer, but he's got better aim. Not the Trogger. Oh, that was a sneak attack? Oh, how I've missed my stealth Archer build. Ooh! That was a good one. Sneak 93. Ah! Ah! He can do that? Hide. Oh, he saw me. Where's my knockback? Where's my knockback? I'm right on the edge. Oh! I forgot that happens in Skyrim. I need my arrows back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm using like the crappiest arrows that they have, though. I should
This
really be
is
sneaky.
crazy. How many have you got? How many people have y'all seen on Instagram that are fake AI accounts? Because I have seen a lot. So we started at Real Girls. That's gone. We're out. That's out. That's out. Real. That's done. Girls using filters. Okay. Then now it went down to this, right? It's girls using filters. Then after it went from girls using filters, it went to fake AI accounts. Because I have seen a lot. So we started at Real Girls. That's gone. We're out. That's out. That's out. Real. That's done. Girls using filters. Okay. Then now it went down to this, right? It's girls using filters. Then after it went from girls using filters, it went to girls. Actually, that's not true. Girls with plastic surgery. And then we have girls using filters. And now we have AI girls. So we started with real girls. Now, it's not that the titties aren't real or their ass isn't real. They don't even fucking exist. Actually, you know what? Oh, you're right. Yeah, they're not even real. It's progress, yes.
You seemingly can't go 15 seconds without having AI shoved in your face by some sort of commercial enterprise.
Of course.
You have Coca-Cola now using AI imagery for their advertising campaigns. Yep. You have Google working Gemini into practically every single product that they offer. But no matter what company it happens to be, there's a very clear atmosphere. It kind of feels almost desperate.
Wow, that's exciting. That's going to be great.
When you see it in real time.
Yeah.
They want you to accept it, use it, even admire it. But that's the consumer side of artificial intelligence. It's the end user products that they want you to engage with, which turns out to be a tiny fraction of the overall market, completely overshadowed in the background by industrial applications.
Yeah, of course.
AI is now the basis for pretty much every single social media platform, from TikTok to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But today we're talking about Instagram in particular. We're talking about a problem where the human component of Instagram...
We're talking about fake-ass hoes. Literally. They don't exist. Yeah, they're not even they're not even real.
Being supplanted by thousands of...
Even real.
Being supplanted by thousands upon thousands of AI-constructed profiles... which many people have no idea even exist. It's a complicated problem.
That's true. Like, you see some of these y'all ever look at one of the AI girls, what do you call it? Like, on their comment section, and you'll see like some guy who's like, please come to Turkey and marry me. I own 3 horses and a goat. I see it all the time. Constantly. It gets people.
Which has roots across multiple social media networks. But to break it all down, I want to start with this. According to research posted in the European Data Journalism Network, with findings and methodology that are available in a public document, Instagram disproportionately amplifies photos and videos that show excessive amounts of bare skin. Anecdotally, a lot of people consider Instagram to be largely dominated by what's called thirst traps, a term which is...
That's hoes again.
Funnily enough, now recognized by Merriam-Webster, and means, quote, a photograph such as a selfie or video shared for the purpose of attracting attention or desire, end quote. Thirst traps are typically women, though plenty of male.
By the way, I think that it's a dishonest interpretation that Instagram tries to encourage people to take their clothes off. Instagram doesn't do that. Instagram has an algorithm that promotes content that's more popular, and more popular content is oftentimes clothes or things that are less clothed because they're sexually suggestive, and people like that. So it's not really that Instagram is rewarding people for taking their clothes off. Other people are, and Instagram is simply adapting to the other people on the website that are doing it. I don't think that's fair to say Instagram is doing it. Popular, yeah, if it's popular, it gets promoted.
Influencers also participate in this behavior, to be clear, who post pictures of themselves with limited or revealing clothing in a suggestive way, thereby subverting the terms of service and attracting attention from their audience.
Yeah.
It's not new, and it's not uncommon. But what many people don't know is that it very well may be hard-coded right into the promotion algorithm of the platform. According to the research I previously mentioned, quote, posts that contained pictures of women in undergarments or bikini were 54% more likely to appear in the newsfeed of our volunteers.
Yeah.
Posts containing pictures of bare-chested men were 28% more likely to be shown. By contrast, posts showing pictures of food or landscape were about 60% less likely to be shown in the newsfeed.
Because they get less likes. Yeah. Like, I hate it when there's a hot girl on Instagram and she posts a picture of her food. Oh my God, no. Yeah. Like, I hate it when there's a hot girl on Instagram and she posts a picture of her food. God, nobody cares. Just stop. Literally nobody gives a fuck.
Quote. Disclosing limitations here, the study is far from definitive on the subject. It analyzed roughly 1,700 posts containing 2,400 pictures and regularly scanned the feed for a couple dozen volunteers to determine what they were seeing and how prevalent. Obviously, I'd like to see tens of thousands of profiles analyzed to get a much more comprehensive
Such a
look
logical
at the
explanation why this happens.
But taking the study at face value, it paints a very skewed picture of what content is typically
Shouldn't take
promoted,
it at face value.
and seems to corroborate what a lot of people already firmly believe about the platform, which is posting revealing pictures in skimpy clothing is the fastest way to get increased viewership.
People love hoes. Can I be a scientist now? I'm pretty sure now I'm a scientist, right? Yeah, no shit. Duh.
It's really not so hard to believe.
It's
Sex
not.
sells, as
Wow.
they say, and it's been that way since the dawn of humanity.
Exactly.
But going a step further, there's actually a patent held by Meta Platforms Incorporated, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, what is it?
Which outlines, quote, methods, apparatuses, and systems directed to calculating a probability that a user or set of users will engage with a multimedia object for customizing content in a social networking system, end quote. AKA, a patent for how they algorithmically determine what will be the most popular. Well, inside that patent is a very interesting section which goes like this, quote, in particular embodiments, API may estimate the state of undress of the people in photo by detecting large swaths of a set of common colors, such as identified skin tones. This disclosure contemplates any suitable method of feature extraction through application of computer vision algorithms. End quote. In simplified terms, the patent that they hold for determining the popularity of visual content directly considers how much clothing the person is wearing, scanning for large swaths.
Of course it does. Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Because if people are liking photos of girls that aren't wearing a lot of clothes, the algorithm should feed them more photos of girls that aren't wearing a lot of clothes. Of course. Yeah, duh. Shit. So it needs to know, yeah, obviously. Like, that. Of course that's how it should be.
Common colors, such as identified skin tones. It's far from definitive, but consider the prevailing atmosphere of Instagram as a platform. Certainly not every single user encounters a feed dominated by partially undressed influencers, but enough people do to where studies are coming back with significantly skewed results, and the common impression of the platform is that it heavily promotes or incentivizes that type of content. So why does it matter?
The platform doesn't promote it or incentivize it. The users on the platform do. It's a bunch of horny guys that are trying to look for girls to post photos. That's the reason why. Instagram isn't bad, people are. And people use Instagram for that thing. Yeah, it's obvious.
If we accept that the platform is dominated by this type of content now, and if we also accept that machine learning algorithms are the reason why it's happening to begin with, what if we add a new layer?
Okay.
What if we introduce a system where publicly available AI tools allow users to mass produce this kind of content from a single laptop,
here we go,
thereby overrunning Instagram's feed entirely and platform with often indistinguishably altered reels stolen from actual people with transposed artificially generated faces on them? What then?
Now,
Well,
this is the fun part. Everybody knows that's the reason, but this is the fun part. Here we go.
Obviously, we don't have to wonder what then, because it is happening.
It's happening
That's the
now.
purpose of the video. And today I want to show you why it's happening, partially how it's happening, and how bad the problem really is. Whether or not people agree on the severity of that problem or the scale of how detrimental it can become eventually is another story. But hopefully when I'm finished, people will begin to realize that the human component of the online world, in this case Instagram, right, as the first example, is being drowned out. Before going further, today's video is made possible by Incogni, which is an online privacy and
I want to say, like, I've followed a lot. I've seen a lot of these accounts. I think that the amount of AI accounts now is insane. And the reason why is they all have OnlyFans. They make OnlyFans for these AI characters.
Protection service. Privacy and data protection being topics that I think
that's what it is.
Underappreciated and woefully underprioritized in
Fake
the
internet theory?
world. Everybody wants your data. It's worth money. They train machine learning models
I
on it, and
pay
you are the
attention to this
victim
for a
of whatever
while.
they decide to do because it's your data, your information, with an entire online economy built
They all
for
have
it
OnlyFans
that
and they look
operates
so
independent
real?
from your
They do.
knowledge or input. The tangible results of this, by the way, are things like spam phone calls, emails, junk mail, text messages, you name it. And once the cycle gets going, it basically never stops.
Never
Personally,
give somebody your phone number. Like, anytime you need to sign up for something, never give them your phone number.
information is everywhere.
It's like getting an
not just in the
STD.
archives of companies you know about or gave permission to, but other data
Never
firms
do
as
it.
well, who then trade it all across the internet. For everyday users, it's essentially impossible to take any action at all, because there are hundreds of these data brokers with a deliberately complex framework to try and contact them, fight objections, or get anything removed. However, Incogni does all of that for you quickly and easily. I've used it myself, I paid for the service, and I'm confident endorsing them. The process is relatively simple. Sign up for the website, give them legal permission to work on your behalf, and let them know what information they'll be having removed.
It's crazy
and
the
then just let
government
them
doesn't
work.
just do that
That's it.
on its own.
Aggregating the service helps them
Just
streamline the
nuts.
process, and once it gets going, you'll see results pretty much immediately, which means less spam, less junk mail, and less people selling your information online. Using the link down below in the description and code ECHELON at checkout, you'll get 60% off an annual
That's a lot.
subscription to Incogni. Again, link down below in the description and promo code ECHELON at checkout for 60% off your subscription. Big thank you to Incogni for sponsoring the channel. All right, back on
There we
task. To properly explain how it all works, I want to break things down into two categories. First generation AI influencers, and then second generation AI influencers. A great example of the first generation in this case would be Aitana Lopez. For anyone curious, Aitana Lopez is an AI influencer created by a modeling agency who now has hundreds of
$16,000 a
thousands of
month.
followers on Instagram.
Makes $16,000 a month doing this shit.
And earns, as of November last year, over $16,000 per month. If you scroll its feed, I almost called it her a couple of times in the video script, but I made sure to correct that issue, obviously. If you scroll its feed, you'll see it primarily consists of AI-generated imagery, sometimes blended with real photos, taken for the purpose of promoting its brand.
Yeah, of course.
Here's what I'm talking about. This is obviously a real photograph. AI is not yet capable of imitating complex logical sequences inside an image. That is to say, the rows of chairs and the numbers that they have sequentially making sense. Just, it's not a step that the generative AI imaging models can currently achieve without either significant human editing or some sort of real photo basis. So we can confidently assume this is a legitimate baseline photograph that they took for the purpose of placing Aitana.
I don't think people care that it's AI. I don't think they give a fuck. Because people like VTubers and everybody knows they're fake. Doesn't stop people jerking off to them. People don't care if it's AI or not.
Inside it. However,
They just
that
want
kind of
goon.
customized
Yeah, exactly.
photographic foundation is being used by a legitimate modeling agency who operates the Aitana profile as a media stunt. What happens when everyday people realize that they can create an entire digital persona and thirst trap on Instagram with it, which is the most popular way of creating content with the fastest through line to growth? What then?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's where we get to what
That's
I call
today.
second generation AI influencers. And this is where things get illegal, highly unethical, and predatory. Here's an example of a second-generation AI influencer called
1 million followers. Look at that. This is an AI character that has 1 million followers. She's not even real.
Alice with over 1 million followers. It's a good thing that the profile still discloses that it is powered by AI in its bio.
I think it has to.
Surprising, actually.
I'm pretty sure it has
But if you
to.
scroll the feed of posts, you immediately find a high number of video reels.
Yeah.
However, if you look at those reels, some of them are constructed better than others. Something almost immediately feels off.
They're not.
It's an
they're not
uncanny
great.
valley type situation, which is the phenomenon where as something gets closer and closer to a human likeness, we gain affinity for it, up to a point where suddenly we become disgusted or repulsed by it.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing, really, and very, very interesting. But basically, if a sculpture or a video or a robot or whatever is close to a human likeness, but not quite there, we feel an overwhelming sense of unease when looking at it. And that is precisely the feeling that some of these Instagram reels will begin to elicit from discerning viewers. Well, the reason for that is because this video has been altered with an AI program to swap out the woman's face.
Oh, they do this shit with Tom Cruise all the time. Yeah, this is, yeah, exactly. Like, they done this with Tom Cruise. And what South Korea made this illegal.
Original video is from a human influencer named Rachel Pizzolatto, who has about 800,000 followers on Instagram, give or take. But it's been flipped on its horizontal axis with an altered face and reposted now by Alice. This is an example of second.
And look at all the comments. I love you, stunning hearts. I love you, super hot. Hello, hello.
And repost on Instagram, give or take. But it's been flipped on its horizontal axis with an altered face and reposted now by Alice. This is an example of second.
And look at all the comments. I love you, stunning hearts. I love you, super hot. Hello, hello. Like, yeah, they love her, man. They think she's great.
Generation AI influencer behavior, but it's really just a window into the wider landscape of what's happening right now at scale all over Instagram. Let's build out the spiderweb. This post, the facially swapped video of Rachel Pizzolatto, tags another account, Dream Alice Shaw, which has 100,000 followers.
That's right.
If we go to that profile, we find a bunch of extremely similar images.
Well, here's the thing. We're not even talking about the real moneymaker here. You have the link tree. Guess what's in that link tree? OnlyFans. Obviously OnlyFans. So what these people do is they make one character that's AI, and then they use the one character that's popping off, and then they use that to advertise the other characters too. So that's how it works. And so like then now you have like a whole farm of these characters that are cross-promoting each other, all selling porn basically, and none of it's real.
And also reels like this one. This is quite clearly an actual human female. AI programs can't quite get this close to reality just yet.
They will.
They have this wonky visual sense to them. But if you go frame by frame, you can actually see the moment where the program kicks in and swaps out her face.
Yeah.
For this one, I couldn't find the original video to show them side by side, but it's out there somewhere. That's two different profiles, collectively holding over 1 million followers, but in the grand scheme of Instagram, that's a drop in the bucket, not even. Except if you start taking the reels that this one second-generation AI influencer is constantly posting, grabbing snapshots of them, and throwing them up on Google with a reverse imaging search, you start to find dozens of additional profiles promoting these same AI fakes. Here's one.
It's all a network. It's probably the same as like on Twitter or any of these other platforms where it's probably like 5 dudes that are doing this. And they just do it like 8 hours a day or like 12 hours a day every day, making these accounts and like making these new characters and then advertising them. That's what they do.
By Alice, which is stolen from some unknown real model, which returns about a dozen additional profiles, such as this one, Sweet Sophia, posting a nonstop feed of stolen, facially swapped material with 28,000 followers. And before anyone says something here, some of these followers are certainly fake, yes, or purchased, but there's a hefty amount of very real engagement on these.
They wouldn't do it if they weren't making money from real people. Let's be real. Like, they wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't working.
Profiles with people completely unaware of what's happening.
Is this illegal?
This is populated by real
It doesn't
people
matter.
interacting with this profile as if it's genuine. Here's another one. Same altered video from an account called Your Bow Ideal with 27,000 followers, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
Here's one with a woman dancing. Stolen, altered, and reposted by Alice. Reposted by another account called
And a lot of
Isabel.
them, the way that they talk, it's obvious that they don't even English. They don't know what the fuck English is. They just Google Translate this and put it out there.
Laboni this time, 50,000 followers, where the original has been taken from an account called Rave Girls Official, flipped on its horizontal axis, and face swapped with AI.
Yep.
This is just one network with hundreds of posts and collectively millions of followers, but it's one network of many. And now we have to ask the question, why? Why is this happening?
Do we really have to ask that question? I don't. I know why. Do you know why? You do? Yeah. Yeah, we all know why.
Short answer, obviously, profit. These profiles make money. People direct message them constantly, and those people messaging, thinking it's a real person, can easily become victims of Shazupan, which means the pig butchering, referring to a now industrialized practice.
Pig butchering, I love it. So I didn't even know this. So basically, oh fuck, do I just say it? I dated a girl that was into Findom, and so like, I mean, I'm not into. I think it's weird, right? But like, I would ask her a bunch of questions about it because I'm like, how does it work? Like, how do you get people to do this? It was not Izzy. No, it was not somebody else. But anyway, they would call them pigs. Oh God, should I say this? I'm thinking about if I should say this. Y'all in for a treat. I'm gonna say it. Hopefully she didn't get mad at me. All right. So I went to a carnival with her, and I asked her what balls she wanted me to get for her, and she said she wanted me to get this one because it was like a pig. And I did get it, by the way, because it's in my room. Yeah, so I did, and they call them pigs, bro. And you know what the worst thing is about it? They like it.
This making its way through the West right now of romance scamming, and they can even get brand deals or sponsorships with very little actual effort involved. But the bigger reason why it's happening is because it's currently allowed to happen. Let me take a step back right now. This right here is a video publicly available on YouTube with over 400,000 views right now as I make this, that's been reported numerous times by tons of different people, directly outlining precisely how to make one of these profiles.
Nice.
And more insidiously, directly telling people to go download the reels and video profiles for actual human women.
Go back.
To go download the reels and video profiles for actual.
Damn. Yeah, they're getting good at this.
Human women who resemble the AI model that they have constructed a face for,
Right.
then showcasing step by step how to swap that face onto the body of these real women,
Yeah.
and use their content for second generation AI influencer profiles.
Right.
For starters, that is very obvious copyright infringement, making no mention of the ethical problems, the numerous.
The guy that's doing this is, he lives in India. What are you going to do? You're not going to do shit about it. It's some Indian guy that's making characters that he's gooning to, and then he posts them, and then other people start gooning to as well. Like, they don't give a fuck. People are posting this shit all over the world. There's nothing you can do about this.
Ethical problems involved.
It was from China?
And yet
The same
YouTube
thing.
has allowed this video to persist unimpeded since September of 2023, amassing close to 500,000 views. And it's not the only one. People are watching this, emulating this, and further degrading the world of social media by stealing content from real human beings across the web, altering their faces, and then spamming that content out again with 10 or even
That's
20
right.
times more viewership than it
This
received.
crazy, like girls on the internet. This is what's nuts about it. Is that basically any girl on the internet has like any popular girl on the internet has like deep fake porn made of her, and like I'm a guy, right? So it doesn't really affect me, but it does negatively affect them a lot, and it is weird. It's definitely weird. Like you can't stop it from happening. That's the truth. Is you cannot stop this. Because it's a global internet and the United States laws don't apply in China or India or Bangladesh. So you're going to have people posting this shit up no matter what. There's 100% deepfake porn of you out there. Well, good. I hope it's accurate. But that's it. You sure? Yeah, no, I'm sure like there's some examples, but it's just probably not that many. But anyway, what I'm saying is, and as a girl, like to me, it doesn't bother me, right? I mean, as I said, I used to sleep in a bed with 5 dudes before. This doesn't matter to me. Like I'm very open about that shit. It's not weird or anything like that. But anyway, my point is that there's no way you can stop this, and it's just going to keep getting worse.
First place. Of course, I know what some people are thinking. Social media has always been a cesspit. Instagram in particular has consistently shown that it's all about manufactured image, but this is a couple steps further. Because we're not talking about people using filters to touch up their own appearance or special photo shoots where the conditions are non-representative of an average person. We're talking about fragments of human content being swept up, manipulated, then regurgitated to millions of people.
That's right.
Far greater than that piece of content ever originally reached by itself, and this problem is not being stopped. As it
It can't be.
stands, as soon as you find a thread to tug on, the problem is already pervasive.
Mhm.
I focused on a few individual examples, but I could show you thousands more.
They do it on
and
Twitter,
you can easily
too.
find networks far larger than the one that I discussed already today, which may or may not be managed by the same person, but
It
certainly
is.
use similar tactics. Each of the profiles I already gave as examples have a beacons.ai link in their profile,
Where does it
which
go
is
to?
basically a Patreon alternative, meaning that they not only propagate this stolen content to Instagram, they monetize it through alternative platforms as well.
Let's say what's really going on. Let's talk about it matter of fact. What they do is they use the platform, like Instagram or whatever, to advertise like OnlyFans, Fansly, Patreon, or like one of these other websites, and then they sell porn. So they have like the character model that is wearing clothes on Instagram, and then you go to the link, and it's the character model doing things that are more, lewd or whatever. Like real funny. I just mean real girls are forced into spots where they're looked at like bots. Well, yeah. I mean, this is just what happens, right? I mean, it's the same as like men are better at being women than women are, apparently. That's what's happening. Is you're seeing all these real girls that are losing to like, some Indian man fucking just sitting there gooning all day, and he's just beating out real girls, and they don't even have a chance against him. Ranjesh won? Yeah, bro, like this guy is unstoppable.
Understand the argument that AI generated content is fine, despite that content being
Mhm.
trained on actual human work in the first place, but this goes far beyond that in
Yeah.
a very decisive way. Compounding the issue is the fact that Instagram only allows the rights holder of content to report that same material for copyright infringement, which used to be fine in order to
Yeah.
prevent trolling. It's an antiquated system now. But with second generation AI influencers, the problem is going parabolic. It's often difficult to even find the original content, let alone the legal representative who owns it. And because you can't report something on someone else's behalf unless you are that legal representative,
You couldn't. It would not be. The system could not function if you can report it on another person's behalf. It would be impossible.
no matter how obvious it is,
it couldn't
and
function.
it is getting pretty obvious, the problem currently has no solution.
No,
the
there's no
pace at which copyright holders will
The only
find out
solution.
about
Here's the only solution. Is that you do what South Korea does, and you make every single social media account require an ID. That's the only way you can do it.
this is insignificant compared to the accelerating pace of the problem itself. And it's a feedback loop because the algorithm very likely chooses and promotes this type of content in the first place.
Yeah.
Now that people have identified a cheap, efficient, and effective way of producing it at scale, which they can with even just a simple laptop or even a phone, what do we think is going to happen to the platform? Short term, Instagram at least grapples with the prospect of massively increased engagement and overall content being posted to their website. Long term, the human component of Instagram, and probably soon after social media in general, continues to degrade because the desire to produce revenue and the ability to manipulate content you don't own is increasing faster than any countermeasure. In the end,
it's also that people just want to jerk off to like something that they like. That's it. And so like people don't like, here's the thing is that I don't even understand why as a male you would have an Instagram account. Like, why would you ever post anything on Instagram as a guy? It just seems stupid to me. I mean, unless you're like maybe a model or something like that. Like, why would you do this? And so, yeah, maybe to talk to girls, maybe, right? Yeah, maybe that's it. Attract a girl? Yeah, maybe. But like otherwise, I can't really see the reason. People use Instagram because they want to look at attractive people. That's why it's popular. If you look at all of the most popular accounts on Instagram, it's mainly attractive people. That's just the way it is. So you can't act like this is some sort of like, unknowable problem. The fact is that a lot of people like that, and that's why the website is so popular.
it's not a problem that currently affects me because I don't have an Instagram or Facebook account to begin with. After I ran an experiment creating a fake profile for researching
Nah, bro. Like, there's plenty of YouTube comments. I bet some of these YouTube comments down here could be fake. Let me see if I can find one real quick. You see if I can get one. Ooh, where are they? This one could be fake. Okay, it's not. Anytime that I see a girl, like especially a blonde girl, I just assume it's a fake account. But it looks like these comments aren't really so bad. But there are comments all the time on Instagram, or sorry, on YouTube that are from fake accounts that just copy paste other people's accounts.
Networks. I got permabanned on every single Meta-owned platform.
Jesus.
But I do use social media, and I do understand that problems today could very